Hey everybody, and welcome to week 6. And in week 6, I've decided to throw in an additional an additional piece of content purely on your mindset and reprogramming your mindset for success. So at this stage in the course, you pretty much know everything. You know how to get your consulting business started, and you know how to get your first client. You know our sales process. You know our strategies. You know our tactics. You've heard hours and hours of questions and answers. We've pretty much covered everything on how to get your first client and how we do everything. But you're probably still noticing that there's a bit of resistance, inside yourself to actually implementing what you've learned and taking action. And first of all, that's completely normal. It's very, very rare for you to learn this stuff and then just be able to walk out into the world and implement it and take action on it. Without feeling some sort of butterflies in your stomach or procrastination or paranoia or something like that, because selling and calling people and talking to strangers on the phone and sending things like this in the mail, it goes against what a lot of things that you've been taught throughout your lifetime, and it's quite hard to do, and that's honestly what trips up, I'd say, 99.9% of entrepreneurs. I don't think most entrepreneurs fail because of lack of knowledge or lack of motivation or lack of time or lack of anything like that. I think most entrepreneurs fail because they let their mind get the best of them. They it's a mindset barrier that I honestly believe stops most entrepreneurs from being successful. And so I've heard a lot of questions in the Q&As and a lot of questions on my during my one-on-ones with co-pilot members, and a lot of discussion in the forums and whatnot on mindset and emotions that go with taking action and talking to strangers and selling and things like that. So in week 5, in week 6, which is now, I've decided to put a whole new piece of content into the course that's going to be purely on mindset, and that's what we're going to cover today. How successful people trick their brain into believing it is good at something it has never done. So this is really a skill of every successful person I've ever met has kind of mastered the emotional side to themselves and their mindset, and they're able to control it and pick up on warning signs and reprogram it to become good at things they're not good at and things like that. And today I'm going to pretty much share everything I know about reprogramming your mindset for success. I've been able to do it to myself. I've been able to teach myself not only how to do things that I couldn't do before, but do them extremely well and actually enjoy doing them. So that's what we're going to cover today. So let's get started. Now, first of all, I want to talk about the emotional side. So this, I believe, is what trips up most entrepreneurs, the emotional side. So the emotional side is, let's take this course, for example. You fully understand the strategy. You get the whole big picture and what it is that we're doing. And you fully understand the tactics and how to do it. And you have enough time. You've got plenty of motivation. And you have a strong reason why. So, you understand the strategy. You understand the tactics. You know what to do. You've got the time to do it. You're fully motivated and pumped up and ready to go. And you really need to do it too, because you have a strong reason why. It's for a family, or it's to buy a house, or it's so you can quit your job. You've got all of these things in place, but something else, something sort of unknown, stops you from taking action. It's like you've got everything that you would imagine that you'd need to be successful, but there's just something else that's stopping you from taking action, and it's not anything visible or anything that you can really recognize, because you understand everything, you've got the time and you've got the drive, but it's sort of when you pick up that phone or when you go to make that CD critique or website critique, there's something in your stomach that sort of turns a little bit and stops you from taking that action. Or it might be a phone follow-up call. You go to pick up the phone, you've got the time, you've done the script, you've practiced it, you know everything, but you just can't pick up that phone, you can't dial. There's something stopping you. So that's what I'm talking about when I talk about the emotional side. And it's really important to understand that, if you're experiencing this emotional side to things, and this is what's stopping you, that's completely normal. I honestly believe that, every entrepreneur experiences this. I have personally to an extreme, and I've been able to conquer it. And I've also helped, dozens of other entrepreneurs, conquer this as well. So I'm confident you can. So don't worry about it. Just identify that you have this issue with the emotional side, and then solve it and move forward. Don't get hung up on the fact that you have it. I believe that everybody, goes through this barrier at some point in their career of being an entrepreneur. Now, an example. So I read a book, and there was a top sales rep at a company. So he was a sales rep at a company, and he was known inside the company to be just the guru of sales. He knew everything about sales. He knew how to sell. He had read all the sales books. He could teach other people how to sell. He could answer any question on sales, any objection on sales. He was just a sales genius. He knew everything. He had, so much knowledge and so much motivation and charisma and all of those things. But he just couldn't pick up the phone. Something happened. Like he just when it came to making a phone call, he just couldn't pick up the phone, and he was about to get fired because he wasn't meeting his targets at all. Even though everyone knew he was an amazing salesman, he just couldn't action it. He couldn't pick up the phone and put what he knew to use in the real world. And that really is the perfect example of the emotional side. You could have motivation, drive, everything, and you could have more knowledge in the field than anybody else. But if there's an emotional side that's stopping you, it doesn't matter about how much you know. It doesn't matter about how many tactics you know or how well you understand the strategy, how much motivation you have. Doesn't matter if you wake up at 4 in the morning. It doesn't matter if you're doing this for like the most important reason in the world. None of that stuff matters if this emotional side is present and stopping you from taking action. So it really took me a long time to understand, what the hell is this emotional side, and what is this mindset thing, and how does it all work? And so I've read a lot of books on this, and personally battled with it for a long time myself, and knowing that it has been, I've known that it's been a roadblock to my success, because there was a point in my life around, I'd say a year or 2 years ago, where I honestly felt like I knew so much. I felt like I knew so much about marketing, so much about sales. I felt like I was, like a business genius. I knew so much stuff that other people didn't know. And, I felt really smart and everything, but I wasn't making any money. And I honestly thought, well, what is going on here? And the problem was that I couldn't take action. I just couldn't do it. Something came up in my stomach that, stopped me from doing it. And, what I thought that was is, okay, it's because I don't know enough. So, I'd buy more books and do more courses and things to build up more knowledge. But that wasn't what was stopping me. It was the emotional side. And this diagram here is honestly the best way that I can possibly describe to you and illustrate to you, your mindset. So this is a diagram of a basic thermostat. So at the bottom there is fire, and then in the middle here's like a steel chamber where there is water, and then there's up the top right where you see the steam coming out. That is a thermostat that releases steam from the chamber, and then on the left there's a temperature gauge. So the flames at the bottom, they burn, and then they put heat into the chamber. The water gets heated up in the chamber and boils and creates steam, and then that creates a high temperature in the chamber, and that's what the temperature gauge measures. And the thermostat regulates that temperature. So the thermostat, opens and closes to release the steam and the hot air and regulate that temperature inside the chamber. So first of all, get familiar with, how a basic, how this basic diagram works. And now, let's relate that to, your mindset. So down the bottom, the burning fires that are powering this furnace, we have, goals. So your personal goals, what you want to achieve this year, over 3 years, or in your lifetime. You've got your specialized knowledge. Now your specialized knowledge is, specific knowledge in a particular industry. So it might be, in this course where I'm providing you with specialized knowledge on how to create a consulting business. Now that's essential. Goals are essential. Also motivation is essential. You need motivation to do this. You might know it, you might have goals, but if you're not motivated enough, you're not going to do it. Another flame below the furnace is, your reason why. So how strong is your reason why? Now, depending on, how strong your goals are, how skilled you are in, starting a consulting business, that's how well you understand the strategies and the tactics, how much motivation you have, and how strong your reason why is. That's going to, make the flame smaller or bigger, and that's going to push more heat into the bottom of the chamber of the furnace. So these fires are burning below the furnace, and that's going to boil the water, and then the water is going to create steam, and that's going to adjust the temperature of the chamber. And the temperature is your success, or the level of action that you take. So if you've got 4 fires burning red hot, that's gonna boil the furnace and create a lot of temperature. And what that means is you're going to take a lot of action and you're going to have a lot of success. But this is where the emotional side comes in, and this is where your mindset comes in. There is a thermostat on this furnace, and the thermostat is your beliefs or your emotions. So they're the same thing. So your beliefs and your emotions towards things, that is the thermostat on the furnace. Now, the reason why the thermostat is so important is because if your beliefs and emotions about this are completely out of whack, if you have lots of limiting beliefs and your emotions towards doing lots of activities are negative and bad, then your thermostat is just going to release all of the heat from inside the chamber. It doesn't matter how hot your fires are burning, it's just going to let all the heat out, and the temperature of that furnace isn't going to move, because just like a car has a thermostat that keeps the temperature regulated about constantly at 90 to 100 degrees, if your beliefs are aligned one particular way. It doesn't matter if you make stronger goals or acquire more specialized knowledge or become more motivated or get a better reason why, or work more hours. It just doesn't matter, because that thermostat will keep letting that hot air out, and it won't let that furnace get to a temperature any hotter. So what I honestly see so many entrepreneurs do is just keep adding to the fires at the bottom. They've got 4 fires burning red hot and they're just piling on more and more stuff. But it won't, they're not looking after their beliefs or paying any attention to their beliefs or their emotions. And all the steam and all the hot air is just coming straight out the top of the furnace, straight out the top of the thermostat and out of the furnace. And the temperature's staying the same, and it's not getting any hotter, it's not going anywhere. And so their success or their action stays the same. Now, the secret to all of this stuff is to focus. If you believe that you have strong goals, you have specialized knowledge, you have motivation, and you have a reason why, and all of these fires are burning red hot, and you feel like there's still something getting in the way, of you taking action, or you having the success that you believe you should be having, then the secret is to intervene here, which is the thermostat. Fix the thermostat. Stop pouring more. Stop pouring more fuel on these fires down the bottom if they're already burning red hot. Focus on the thermostat, because all you have to do is make some small changes to the thermostat, and this whole furnace is going to heat right up. Now, it's important to understand, what beliefs are, and how beliefs are created. So, this is the thermostat part to the furnace. So, a belief is, your belief about something. So, and your attitude about something. So, an example might be a belief about talking to strangers. So you might believe that talking to strangers is bad, or it might be you believe that being rejected or hearing no is bad, something like that. That might be a belief about something, or an emotion towards something. Now, how beliefs are created, it's really important to understand this, because no other people and things don't actually create beliefs. You are the only person that can create a belief. So what happens is lots of information, gets fed to us in thousands of different ways. People talking, us seeing things, us hearing things. You can be fed information in so many different ways. And that is really all it is. It's just information. And we receive that information, using our senses, and then it goes into our brain, and it's what happens here that's important. It's how we perceive that information that we've received. So we may, receive a whole lot of information, it goes into our brain, we process it, and we create a belief. Now, why it's so important to understand this is because your brain can't tell the difference between something that's real or something that's imagined, because all your brain has to make decisions on is information, and it's what you do inside your brain that matters. So let me explain this in a little bit more detail. So if you have an experience, let's say you have a real experience, like you call someone up on the telephone, and it goes terrible. So that's the experience. So you have a bad experience calling someone on the telephone. Now what happens after that? That is just information. So that's information. It hasn't really touched your brain yet. So information is you called someone, it didn't go well. That's just information. Now what happens is the next stage of that is feelings and emotions that your brain releases when you experience that. So let's say you process that information in your brain and you go, oh my God, that was so bad. And then so that's what you've processed with the information, and then you feel the emotions run through, like embarrassment and shame, and you feel those negative emotions inside you, and it's that point there that matters. So the experience doesn't really matter. That's just information. What matters is what you do with your information, what you do with the information inside your brain. So the first thing you did with that information was, you said, oh my God, it was so bad. So you perceived it as a bad experience. You categorized it as bad. And then you let your body feel, those negative emotions. Now, what you've done there is you've created, the root of a belief inside your brain. So the root of this belief is now that calling people on the telephone is bad, and it goes badly, and it results in guilt and shame and things like that. Now, so you've created the root of a belief here for calling people on the telephone. Now, what's going to happen here is you can probably relate to this a lot. I could relate to this a lot. Is that you then tend to replay those negative experiences over and over and over again in your mind. So you've only done one phone call, and one phone call's gone badly, but you keep playing it over and over in your imagination. You might play it over 50 times or more, but this is the thing. This is the real important part about understanding your mind and understanding your mindset. Each time you play it through in your brain still takes that as, equally as important as the first time it happened, the real experience. Because remember, when something real happens in real life, all that is information. It's nothing to do with your brain. It's just information. So what actually matters is what happens in your brain. It's how you process that information. Now, if you keep playing over that same experience again and again, it's just as bad as making 50 actual bad phone calls, because your brain doesn't know the difference between something that you've imagined and something that's actually happened in real life. So let's say you make one phone call, it goes bad, then you keep playing it in your mind throughout the day again and again and again. Your brain is just taking that as real, like a real experience, and it's strengthening the association between making a phone call, it being bad, and the feeling of guilt and the feeling of shame. And you're just making this belief stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger in your mind, even though nothing real is actually happening. It's all just going on in your mind, but your brain does not know the difference. This is so important. Your brain can't tell the difference between real or imagined experiences. It treats them exactly the same, because something that happens in real life, remember, is just information. It's what happens inside your brain that is the important part. So that is, how beliefs are created. But there is, something that we can do here that really, tricks your brain. You might think, oh, this is so bad because if I have one phone call that goes bad, I'm just going to play it over and over in my mind again, and I'm going to make that belief about, making a phone call really bad. But you're right, it is bad, and most people don't understand how their mind works, and they don't understand, the whole mindset thing. And so, they let themselves, fall into all of these traps. Now, let me give you a couple of examples that might make you, really click with this whole concept that I'm showing you here. So if you've ever told yourself that you're bad at something, or that you're clumsy, or you're bad at maths, or you can't spell, or all of these different things. If you say that to yourself, uh, you know, if you say that, that's just like an experience. Then you feel the emotions, and that becomes a belief, and that's just going to happen. That's going to be your belief about something, and that really is going to affect how well you do something for the rest of your life. And the truth is it's not actually real. You're not actually like that. It's just what you've taught yourself to believe. Uh, Now, the good thing about this is that you can completely reverse negative beliefs. You can reverse limiting beliefs. And how you do this is through manipulating, how your brain works, through intervening and, making, making your imagination your training ground. So, like I said, how your brain doesn't know, your brain just takes in information, and then it's what it does with that information inside it that actually matters. So it doesn't, what you can actually do is you can imagine things inside your brain, and your brain will just think they're real, and it will start to create a belief on those things. So just like if you kept playing over and over and over in your mind how badly that phone call meant, and you're, making that association between the phone and, guilt and things stronger and stronger, you can imagine an experience in your brain where you make a phone call and it goes really well. And then you feel emotions of, happiness and confidence and things like that. And your brain will start to do the reverse. It will start to draw an association between, success, happiness, and confidence. Negative emotions, positive emotions, positive feelings, a positive outcome, and it will strengthen the association between the telephone and those positive outcomes and those positive emotions, and that will start to become the belief your mind has about a particular activity or a particular task. Now, the beauty of this is that you don't actually have to have a successful phone conversation, or you don't have to successfully send something in the mail. You don't have to have any real experience at all. You can actually start, the root of this belief and build the entirety of this belief on, an imagined experience and imagined feelings and emotions, because your brain does not know the difference. Now, let me give you an example of this, so you actually believe this. This is 100%, real. This isn't made up. It's not, it's not crazy stuff. It's nothing like that. This is 100% real. So you probably can you can probably remember, when you're a kid or a child, there was lots of stuff all over the TV about, let's say broccoli, and broccoli tastes so bad, and broccoli this and broccoli that, and all over the TV, and your friends probably talked about it and all sorts of things. Now, you might have never tried broccoli in your entire life. So you've never tried it, so you have no real experience to base it on. But you may have, taken all of this information from the world, and then you've processed it in your brain that broccoli tastes bad. That's the outcome. Broccoli, bad taste. And then the emotions of it, disgusting, regretful, all of those things. So you've assigned an outcome, you've associated emotions with it, and you've created a belief about, what something tastes like and how you don't like it, uh, you know, even though you have never actually tried it. So that's the thing about your mind. Like I've said this so many times now, but your mind doesn't know the difference between a real or an imagined experience. It just takes in information, and it's what you do. You take in information, and it's what you do with it inside your mind that actually matters. So you can actually game this to your advantage by, experiencing, you can play a perfect scenario in your brain, have a perfect outcome, and then feel, the positive emotions that come with that, and create a belief, from scratch, or you can completely repair a negative or limiting belief, to be a positive one, without actually having to do anything. Your imagination can become, your training ground. Now, this is really, really, really powerful stuff. Michael Jordan once said that he shot, more three-pointers in his imagination than he ever shot in real life. Now, why he did this, when people asked him, why do you do that? And he says, because nothing can go wrong in my imagination. Every time I shoot, a three-pointer in my mind, it's, with the perfect, I'm doing everything perfectly, the ball's gliding perfectly, and it goes in every time. And I can almost feel the muscles in my body when I jump, when I shoot. I can watch the ball going through the air. I can hear it go through the hoop, and then I draw the association between shooting a three-pointer and it's gonna go in, and then the emotions that go with getting it in the hoop, of success and happiness and confidence and things like that. So that he just would replay that over and over and over in his mind, because then when he was out on the court and all of a sudden if he had to shoot one, his mind, as soon as he was throwing the ball and his mind clicked that it was time to shoot the three-pointer, he instantly had those feelings of confidence and happiness and certainty, and he'd just go for it and it would go in. It creates things like that if you practice this in your mind. Famous tennis players, they practice more in their imagination than they do in real life. Famous golfers such as Tiger Woods and things like that, they practice shots and scenarios more in their imagination than they do in real life. Why? Because first of all, you can actually get a whole lot more practice inside your imagination. You can train when you're in bed. You can train, when you're doing anything. You can train all the time. The second thing is it's perfect training. You never miss a shot. Every time you do it, it's perfect, and you always have the positive emotions. So going off topic from sports and coming back to business, really successful businessmen and especially really successful salespeople, they imagine successful sales scenarios in their imagination. So let's give you an example. So you make a phone call, you get the person on the line, it goes well, you get the appointment, and then you associate the feelings that come with the scenario going well in your mind, and you keep replaying that over. What you're going to do is create a positive belief about picking up the phone and following up with your prospects. Next time you go to make a phone call and follow up with your prospects, when you go to pick up the phone, those emotions and those beliefs are going to come into play, and you're going to experience those emotions because that's how your brain works. It's basically set up this way, to protect you. So your mind is set up this way to protect you. An example is, let's say you walk over to an electric fence. The only information you've got is seeing an electric fence and maybe hearing a zzz sound. Then you reach out and you touch the fence and you receive a shock. and that's more information, and then your brain processes that, and it's touching electric fence equals shock, which is painful and a big mistake, and that's the belief about touching an electric fence. Now, next time you go to an electric fence and you see it and you hear it, and that information goes into your mind, your mind tells you, don't touch that, you stay away from that, even if you're not consciously thinking about it. So you might be thinking about other things that might not even be on your mind, but you just know not to touch the the electric fence. So your mind is set up this way, to protect you, but it's the way it's set up, can limit you big time in business, because you can imagine things, you can imagine things that never happened, and you can create limiting and negative beliefs about things that will limit you in business. So here's an example. Throughout your life, your parents, your teachers, your friends, classmates, all of those things, they would have probably trained or told you that, making mistakes is bad. So it's bad to make mistakes. Failing is bad. If you fail an exam, it's frowned upon. It's terrible. Your teacher's disappointed. Your friends think, oh, I'm friends with this guy who can't even pass his exam. You feel ashamed, then you have to tell your parents, and they're ashamed, and the grade follows you around, and it's going to restrict you on getting a job, and all of this stuff. So you've got all of these emotions in you that, mistakes are bad. Failing is bad. Your parents used to tell you when you were a kid that talking to strangers is bad. And also, every movie that seems to come out, and every cartoon and every TV show seems to portray salesmen as, bad people. Like, the used car salesman or a greasy salesman. It seems to, portray salespeople as bad. And it also, the media and TV and whatnot also seem to portray, wealthy people as evil. Think of, Scrooge McDuck or even The Simpsons and Mr. Burns, and, they're always portraying, rich people and, people with money and business people to be evil and bad. So you've got all of these things that have been, all of this information that's been fed to you, and you've processed it in your brain and created all of these beliefs, things about, beliefs about money, beliefs about selling, beliefs about talking to strangers, beliefs about, beliefs about making mistakes, beliefs about failure, all of these things that have, been ingrained in you since you were young. These are going to create limiting beliefs, and then even though they're completely different, so failing an exam is completely different to failing in business. Those beliefs are still going to come up and block you when you go to take action in the business world. And another one is that I think is quite big is the fear of the fear of rejection. So here's an example. You might have gone up to a girl at a school ball or at a bar or something like that, and you might have tried to talk to her or asked her out or something like that, and she might have rejected you and said no, and laughed at you. Now, that's going to create a massive fear of rejection. Now, even though that's completely different to being rejected on the phone and being told no on the phone by a business prospect, that belief is still going to wreak havoc with you when you go to make phone calls, as a businessman. So those are examples of limiting beliefs and how they can affect you. Now, like I said earlier, this stuff isn't all bad. You can train, and you can train your mind and create and strengthen beliefs, just by training inside your imagination. Your imagination is your perfect training ground. Now, there's a specific way to do this, and it's really important to do it this way if you want to have success with, training inside your imagination. Now, the first step is, you must imagine yourself taking the action. So the action might be making the phone call. And the more detail you can, imagine this and visualize it in your mind, the better it's going to work. So the more details, the more visual it is. So to do this, you'd lie down, you'd relax, get everything else out of your mind, close your eyes, and then fully imagine it, picture it, almost feel the buttons, under your hand or whatever when you're making the phone call. Fully imagine it in detail. Now, the next step is to imagine it going well. So that's the outcome. So it's really important that you've got the action and then you've got, the outcome. So then the outcome might be the person, the phone call going well, and then the person inviting you in for a consultation. So again, imagine it in full detail, fully visualize it. Now, this is possibly the most important part of this. And this is to feel the positive emotions that go with the success. If you don't feel the emotions inside your body, then this whole process won't work, because your brain won't associate, the experience to anything. Your brain is an emotional thing. If it has bad emotions, it will remember them and it will tell you not to do that. If it has good ones, it will remember that and it will make you want to do it, because all the brain wants is more positive stuff. So it's really important to feel positive emotions that go with the success. So once you've imagined the outcome and it going really well, the next thing you want to do is feel the emotions. So what emotions would you feel if you got the consultation? You'd be excited, you'd be confident, you'd be just happy. Those sorts of emotions, you let them sort of trickle through your body, you really feel them inside, and then you repeat that over and over again. And what your mind is gonna do is, it's gonna imagine taking the action, then it's gonna, the outcome goes well, and then the emotions follow the outcome. And what your mind's going to do is associate doing that action with a positive outcome and positive emotions. And the more you do that, the more you do that, the stronger that belief will get, and then the easier it will be for you to take that action. Next time the situation arises in real life. Now, when you're building beliefs and working on your mindset and things like that, a really easy way to visualize it all is to think about a scale with rocks on either side. Now, I've drawn a simple diagram here, and it says your belief about something. One side there's negative emotions. The other side there's positive emotions, or positive experiences and negative experiences. Now, let's say this belief is about calling people on the telephone. Now, if you've never called anyone on the telephone, but you might have imagined it in your mind a few times and it went badly, then you're going to have 2 or 3 negative rocks on the scale and no positive rocks on the scale, and your belief about making a call on the telephone is going to be negative. And so next time in real life, you come to make a call on the telephone, your instant emotions that are going to run with that are negative, and your mind's going to try and convince you not to do it because it doesn't want to experience those emotions. Just like the electric fence example I gave to you before. So the secret here is to put more rocks on the positive side of something than on the negative side, because that will tip the scales in your favor and in the positive favor. So let's say your belief about making a call on the telephone. You might have had 10 bad experiences or one bad experience or whatever. It doesn't matter. You just have to have more positive experiences. And these can be, the beauty of your mind is they can all be in your imagination. So you can imagine, yourself having 100, awesome phone calls, and that's going to put, a lot of positive rocks on the other side. And, over time, this belief is going to become strong. And then in real life, when you go to pick up the telephone, your mind is going to want you to do it because it knows that positive emotions come after taking that action. So, with your mindset, it's really important to, picture that scale and picture negative rocks and positive rocks, and always make sure you've got more positive rocks. Now, another thing is if you make a phone call and it goes bad, or if you imagine in your mind that you make a phone call and it goes bad, it's really crucial to recognize that and to cut that thought immediately. So as soon as I imagine something negative or I experience something negative, and I cut that thought immediately. I quickly identify, I'm getting caught into this. I'm about to replay this again in my mind and keep adding negative rocks to this. And I cut that thought and I quickly replace it with something positive, so that I'm careful that I'm not, building a negative belief about anything. So it's really important in your mind that you catch yourself very quickly, when you're going over something, whether real or imagined, and associating it with negative emotions and negative outcomes. Cut it quickly and then replace that thought with something positive so that you can repair that wound to your belief. Now here's another diagram that I seriously believe is true in almost anything that you do in life. And I believe this diagram ruins people. People let this ruin them. And I believe that when you understand it and you understand your mind, that you can, abuse this. You can make it work for you instead of against you. And this diagram can go in either an upward spiral, a rapid upward spiral, or a rapid downward spiral. It either makes people or it breaks them. And this is, true in honestly everything. So up the top here, you've got your potential. Now, your potential is made up of your skills, your knowledge, and your motivation. So we talked about this before. These are the fires below the furnace. So your knowledge is, how well you know our strategies and tactics and consulting. Your motivation, your drive, your reason why, all of those things. That makes up your potential. And below that, we have your beliefs. So these are your emotions and, your comfort zone. These are all your limiting beliefs or, positive beliefs about things. And this is your thermostat. Now, the next thing around in this diagram is action. Now, it's the combination of beliefs and potential that's going to influence how much action you take. So if you have, really good potential, but not very good beliefs, then you're only going to take a small amount of action. So let's say you have small potential, small beliefs, you're only going to take small action. And if you take small action, you're only going to get small results. And from small results, your belief about doing that activity is going to be bad because you only got small results. So your brain's going to go, okay, well, I took that action, I got small results, so my belief is going to be even worse. That means I'm going to take less action the next time around, and it's going to keep spiraling down, because if you take small action, you get small results. It's going to feed back into your belief system, and weaken that belief, and then the next time you're going to take even less action and then get even less results, weaken the belief again, even less action, less results, weaken the belief again, until you've pretty much, killed this thing, and you've pretty much not ever going to take any action because your belief about it is so small and so negative that you're just not going to take any action. And if you don't take any action, then you don't get any results, and then your belief is this thing just doesn't work and you're never going to do it. But like anything with your mind, you can trick it because it doesn't know the difference between something that's happened in real life or something that's imagined. So you can trick your brain, and you can actually abuse this thing here. That is what I honestly believe wrecks most people. So you can change your beliefs. So you can imagine things in your mind going well. You can build really strong positive beliefs about things, and then you can have good potential. So you could have big potential and big beliefs. Now that's going to lead to you taking big action. And if you take big action, you're going to get big results. And if you get big results, that's going to come around again and make your beliefs even better. You're going to think, wow, I did this and it worked, and now my belief's even stronger. So then you're going to take an even bigger amount of action, receive even bigger results, and it's going to keep compounding up and up and up. You're going to get stronger beliefs, you're going to have more potential, you're going to take more action and get more results every single time. And it's just going to start to compound rapidly. And every time you take action, it's going to be off the back of, results and high emotions and awesome emotions and things like that. Every time you're taking action in an upward spiral is on the high of a recent win. Going into a consultation, making phone calls, doing things like that when you're on a high from a previous win, it really changes things. Clients can smell it on you. They can sense it on they can sense it in your voice. They can, sense the emotions in the room. They know you're not desperate. They know you're confident, and they can feel that. And people are attracted to positive things like that. So this really starts to just go crazy upwards when you really nail it and you really understand it. And the secret to doing it is, again, to change the beliefs. Now, here I'm going to go into some actual actionable stuff that you can do to reprogram your mindset. So I've gone over, how your mind works and, what your mindset is and how beliefs are created and how you can adjust beliefs and, create new ones and strengthen beliefs and things like that. Now I'm going to show you some actual actionable things that you can do to reprogram your mindset. Now, the first thing that I strongly recommend you do is a self-audit. It's really important to do a self-audit because you really need to keep an account of, how you're feeling and what you want and things like that. Sometimes, in life and in business, there's so much going on, and it's just like a whirlwind that you're focusing on this tactic and this one and this email and this phone call and this spreadsheet and all of these little meaningless things, when you just need to take a step back and look at what you're really trying to achieve here and what's really stopping you from getting what you want. So I've come up with a self-audit sheet here that you can use for yourself. So let's have a look at this. So the document's available for you to download below this video, and it's called Mindset Self-Audit Exercise, and it's a Microsoft Word document that you can edit yourself. Now, the first thing you do here is define your reason why. So why do you want to start a business? Is it for money? And if so, why do you want money? Is it for freedom? And if so, why do you want freedom? Think long and hard about your reason why. You really want to define this. And make sure you really understand the core of your reason why you want you want to do this, because this is why you get out of bed and why you're trying so hard to start a consulting business. It's your reason why. You want to define it, have it written down on a piece of paper. The next things to do is to define your 1-year goals. So I've put here, these will be your goals, things you want to have achieved by the end of December 2014. So they're 1 year away, so there's enough time to work at them. And you want to write them down here, and you want to split them out into different categories. I typically do my categories across wealth, business, and personal, and I try to keep them nice and simple and only have about 5 for each. So an example for wealth might be to have $100,000 in your personal bank account, or a new car, or a deposit on a first home, or something like that. A business example might be 10 clients on retainer, or a specific amount in revenue per month. And a personal one, it's really important to have balance in your goals. Would be might be get into good shape, go to the gym, or spend more quality time with your family, or things like that. It really is important to have some balance in your goals. Don't make them all business or all wealth. Have some balance to them. And keep them nice and sharp. Really think about this, really define, what you want to achieve, what your reason why is. Spend some time doing this, because it is very powerful. It's scarily powerful. The things that I write down on these sheets, I have got. Things that I've written down on these sheets and thought they were ridiculous at the beginning of the year, I have, achieved them at the end of the year. Doing this sort of stuff is scarily powerful, because I used to write goals down, and towards the end of writing down goals, you usually add in a couple of things that are a little bit ridiculous. So things that you think, oh, what the hell? I'll just add it in because if it came true, that would be awesome. And even those things have come true. So this stuff is scarily powerful. I don't think there's anything that I haven't written down on these sheets that I haven't achieved. So that's take some time to do this. It really, really, really is worth it. Now the next step is to really think about your limiting beliefs and what's holding you back from getting what you want. So define your limiting beliefs or your fears. So if you can't pick up the phone, if you can't call anyone on the phone, then think, what is that fear? Really trace it back. Think, is it fear of getting no? Is it fear of is it a fear of hearing no, or is it a fear of what other people will think? Think about what it is, and then write it down. And that's how you do the self audit. What is your reason why? What are your goals across different categories of your life? And then what are some of the limiting beliefs that are holding you back? Take your time to define all of these things in the mindset self-audit exercise. Once you've done that, you are going to want to structure your goals correctly. So you just defined your goals, in the self-audit exercise. But now what you want to do is rewrite them properly so that you can trick your brain. So when you rewrite your thing, you want to, first of all, write your reason why in the present tense. So don't write it as, I want to, or I wish, or anything like that. Say all of your things, in these documents as like you already have them, like they are in the present tense. So your reason why would be, I wake up every day and give it my absolute best because, and then state, your reason why. make sure it's present tense, use the word I. Your brain, you can trick your brain into these things. When you state things in the present tense, state them like you already have them, and use the word I, and then associate positive emotions with these things. It does trick your brain. Now, when you're rewriting your goals, you want to use this formula. So the word I, and then what you want in the present tense, and then the emotions and feelings that run through your body when you have what you want. So this is the formula for writing goals. Now I've put in some examples here for you. So a goal I created in the self-audit was, I wanted 100 grand in my bank account. So here I've rewritten the goal, and it says, I have $100,000 in my personal ASB bank account. I feel confident, worry-free, and successful, knowing that I never need to worry about bills. So what I've done here is I've used the word I, stated what I want in the present tense. So I have. Even though I don't have it, I've stated it as I have. And I've given it detail, the name of my bank and what account it is and whatnot. Now, that's the first piece you want to do. The next piece is, state the emotions and, feelings that run through your body when you have what you want. So, having that amount of money in my personal bank account would make me feel confident, worry-free, and successful, and I wouldn't have to worry about the bills. Now, that's how you want to structure every goal. Don't just write it as something you want or as a bullet point. Word it that way. Use the word I, make it present tense, and then state the emotions and feelings that run through your body when you have what you want. That is how you correctly structure goals and correctly structure your reason why. And that's what you'll want to do for all of your goals. The next thing to do is to go through from your self-audit exercise where you identified all of your limiting beliefs, and you're going to want to word them in what I call a constructive imagination sheet. So I've provided one here. This is actually my one. So I use this these were all limiting beliefs of mine. Now some of the stuff's pretty personal, but I thought I'd share it with you guys just to prove that I've actually used this stuff for a long time. I've used this stuff for two or more years now personally, every single night, and it's helped me a lot. And I just want to show you how this stuff actually works. So you identify all of your limiting beliefs, and then you want to structure them this way. Now the formula is I, the word I, and then the end state of having what you want, and then the emotions and feelings that run within your body when you have what you want. So here's some actual examples of some, how I structured some constructive imagination verses off of the limiting beliefs that I had in my mind. So here was one that says, I always think and act today. I feel heroic, confident, and exhilarated, knowing my actions today will create momentum tomorrow and then the next day. I feel unstoppable. So one problem that I had was, not being able to take, action or procrastinating or things like that. So I structured a verse in my constructive imagination sheet, about taking action today. So I used the word I, stated what I wanted, the end state of what I wanted. So I didn't say I want, I said I always think and act today, as if I was currently doing it. And then I state the positive emotions and outcomes that run with, having what I want. And then that's how you structure all of these things off your limiting beliefs. So a limiting belief of mine was rejection, fear of rejection. And my constructive imagination verse to counter that limiting belief was, I am free of the fear of rejection. Rejection is a necessary thing to achieve success. I act without fear of rejection and feel confident, strong-minded, and energized. So the word I, the the thing as if I currently have it, and then, a bit of logical explanation to why it's essential, and then, emotions and feelings that run through my body when I imagine that, I am free of this fear. So that's how you go through all of your limiting beliefs, and you structure a constructive imagination verse according to this formula that deals with each and every one. And, my one here was 2 pages long. I wouldn't really recommend going much more than 2 or 3 pages. But, try and cover all of your limiting beliefs in here. And, take the time to write really strong, powerful sentences for each one. Now, once you've got, these things, put together, so your self-audit, then your goals structured correctly, and your limiting beliefs identified, and constructive imagination verses to counter those limiting beliefs, you're going to want to, go back over this stuff. So you're going to want to print it out, maybe get it laminated or something like that, and you're going to want to recite it every single day before bed and when you awake. Now, one real good thing to do is to create what I like to call a mindset pack. And this is what I did. So, the first page of my mindset pack was just, a page that was, covered in a collage of images of things that I wanted. So, cars, things like that. Just, things that I wanted, just sort of like a vision board. That was the front cover. Then, part 2 of the pack was things to remember. So I stated down some really important things to remember and to remind myself of every single day. Now, I've put the same one that I used in here so that you can use it too, because I still look at these things every day because I feel like these things trip me up all the time. They may trip you up all the time too. And I like to look at them every single day and remind myself. So here are these important things to remember. The first one is you are emotional. If you are feeling frustrated, angry, down, or anything else, it's not for any factual, logical reason. It's because you have assigned negative emotional meaning inside your head to information that was received. And, I go through all of the different things. Things that I really, want to remember and constantly remind myself of. And, here's a good one down here, talking about limiting beliefs. If I think I'm catching a limiting belief in myself, I will think, first of all, is there any rational reason for such a belief? Could it be that I am mistaken in this belief? When I come to the same conclusion about some other person in a similar situation, why should I continue to act and feel as if this is true if there is no good reason to believe it? And then I write it down, create a constructive imagination verse and add it to my daily routine. And, I try and rid myself of this limiting belief. So you might want to use this important things to remember piece in your mindset pack. Feel free to adjust it or add your own or do whatever you want, but I thought it might be useful for me to provide you with mine. So that's the second part of your mindset pack. So first page, a collage of things you want. Second page, important things to remember. The third part is, your goals. So your goals and your reason why structured the right way. And then the last part is, the constructive imagination. So this is all of your limiting beliefs identified and structured the right way. Now, once you've got your mindset pack all done, the next thing you want to do is, create what I like to call my bedtime recording. So you find, a really soothing and relaxing song. I'll link you to the one below here that I like to use. It was called Along the Rainbow or something like that. So you find a really soothing and relaxing song, and then this can be done really basically. All I did is I have an iPhone, and all I did was open up, voice memos or voice recorder on my iPhone, play the YouTube video of the soothing, relaxing song, let it run for about 1 minute, and then I'd just talk over the top of the song, stating all of my constructive imagination sentences. So not my goals, or not my reason why, or not things to remember or any of that stuff. I just stated the verses from my constructive imagination sentences. And then I'd leave about 20 seconds after each one, and I'd state all of the sentences in the recording. And obviously the music's going to run out about 3 or 5 minutes in, and that doesn't matter. After a while, it will just be your voice talking. It'll be dead silent in the background and just your voice. And once you've done recording that, you can save it to your phone or a portable player so that you can listen to it with your headphones as you fall asleep at night. Now, here's the process, once you've put together all of this stuff. Excuse me. First of all, you're going to want to, watch this video and fully understand, all of the stuff I talked about, how your mindset works, how beliefs are created and all of those things. So fully understand the video. The next thing is, do the self-audit. Take the time to do it properly. Structure your goals properly. Structure your reason why properly. Identify your limiting beliefs and structure them properly as constructive imagination verses. Really take the time to do that stuff properly. Then put together your mindset pack. So all of those things put together with, the collage of things that you want on the front page, and then things to remember on the second, and then, all the rest of the stuff. Then you want to staple that together, or you want to go get it laminated or something like that, and you want to always keep it on you. And then you want to have your bedtime recording, which is what I just told you how to do, and you want to have that on your phone or somewhere where you can always listen to it. Now, every single night for about 2 years now, just before I went to bed, and as soon as I woke up, so let's say going to bed is the most important one, by the way. It's not so important if you can't do it when you wake up. It's going to bed that's the most important. You've probably experienced this before if you go to bed and you're in a bad mood, or you've just had a fight with your partner or something like that, and that's what's in your mind, and that's what's running over your mind, or a negative thing is running over your mind as you fall asleep. You usually have a bad sleep and you wake up in a negative state in the morning. So that's why it's so important to go to bed in a positive state with the most important things running through your mind. So just before bed, what I'd do is get comfortable in bed, like as if I was going to sleep, and then relax as much as possible. And then I'd look at my vision board, and then I'd go over the things to remember, and then I'd read each goal sentence to myself. Now, when you read a goal sentence, it's really important to first read the sentence to yourself, then pause, close your eyes, and imagine in your mind, first of all, visualize it in your head. So visualize the goal in your head as if you have it. Picture every detail about it, and then let the positive emotions and feelings run through your body. And again, the more detailed the vision and the more felt the emotion or feeling, the better this will work. So, take your time to do each one and really feel it. Feel the emotions, trickle through your body. I'd do that for all of my goals. And then I'd go over to the constructive imagination, and I'd go over, every single one of those. The same way I went over my goals, really visualizing it, stating it to myself first, then visualizing it, letting the positive emotions run through my body. And then once I'd done that, this can take, 20 minutes to half an hour to do. And then I'd, put down the sheet of paper, turn off my lights, and just, go to sleep. But that's when I would listen to the recording as I fell asleep, just with my headphones on. I'd just listen to that recording as I fell asleep. And what this does is, just before you fall asleep and when you're in your most relaxed state, that's when your subconscious, is its most receptive to information, into things, and that's where all limiting beliefs and things like that are kept. They're in your subconscious. They're not in your logical mind, because when you go to make a phone call, your logical mind knows that it's just a phone, it's just a no, it's just all of the stuff. Your logical mind doesn't see anything wrong, but your body feels something that your logical mind can't pick up, and that's because it's stored in your subconscious. That's where limiting beliefs are stored. And the only way to really get at your subconscious is through emotions, or when you're quite relaxed, and that's why this stuff is really powerful just before bed, because during the night when you're sleeping and you're rejuvenating, your mind's going to be working on putting all of those positive rocks on that side for that particular belief, and setting your mindset up properly. It's going to start to have a ton of positive stuff and a ton of positive emotions associated to all sorts of things that you do in business. And over time, you're going to end up with a really abundant and positive mindset, and positive emotions and feelings about pretty much everything you do in business. And so I've done this for quite a long time now, and I have no fears of really doing anything in business, and really positive emotions about anything, whether it's getting on the phone, taking action, things like that. And I still continue to do this. I still do the self audits. I still redo my goals. I still have a mindset pack. I still have a recording. I still, listen to it and go over it every night, and because I really do believe in this stuff, I think it's almost scary how powerful this stuff is, because like I said, everything that I've written on those goal sheets, I have achieved. Even the things that, I thought were a little bit out of reach and a little bit ridiculous, I've been able to get them. So, this stuff does work. It is really powerful. And this is honestly, step by step, how I have, completely reprogrammed my mindset in business. And I've put it all out here for you guys, so that you can understand it the same way I do, and, take action the same way I do, and hopefully have the same outcome that I have had with all of this stuff. Now, here's a few additional resources on mindset stuff, just in case you want to go a little bit deeper. So some awesome books. First of all, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, Zero Resistance Selling by Maxwell Maltz and Dan Kennedy, and Release Your Brakes by James Newman. All awesome books to do with mindset, subconscious mind, and things like that. And also, I've decided to offer some mindset one-on-one sessions. So, mindset is a big thing in business. It's not really the strategies and the tactics and the things like that trip people up, and limit them from getting what they want, or limit them from taking action. It's usually the mindset things. And that's why I've created this video on it, and that's why I've put so much time into creating these slides and creating this piece of content, because I know that a lot of people are going to have problems with this. And that's why I've also provided additional resources. But I wanted to go one step further and also provide some one-on-one support here, for you guys, if you really want some high touch, like one-on-one support with this mindset stuff. So here is what I'm offering if you want some really good help with this mindset stuff. It's a 1 hour long one-on-one session with myself, where we'll go through and find all of your limiting beliefs, and go through your goals and reason why and things like that, and together put through a mindset pack and a strategy to remove all of your limiting beliefs. So that will be a 1 hour session, and we'll get all of that stuff done for you. And then we will do a 30-minute follow-up call later on, whether it's 1 month or 2 months out, to see how things are going and maybe adjust your strategy and your mindset pack, just to get what you want. So there will be a charge for these sessions if you do want them. It's over an hour and a half of my own time, and it's going to be a lot of really deep stuff to find out these limiting beliefs and put together these packs. So if you're interested in that, the link for that is www.samovens.com/mindset and then -session. The link will be provided below this video in the resources, and also you can see the link in this video at the end of the slides. The URL again is samovens.com/mindset-session. So that's all for this mindset video today. I've put a lot of time into it, and I really hope this helps all of you guys. And I'd love to hear your feedback on this sort of stuff. I think this is the first time I've really talked about the emotional side of business publicly, and how I personally understand and believe your mindset works and what it actually is, and how to take action to actually do it. So a lot of people talk about mindset and preach mindset and things like that, but when you actually ask them, well, what the hell is it? How does it work? How did my mindset get this way, and how do I fix it? It's just a lofty topic. No one can really tell you. And I think in this video, I've done a pretty good job of answering all of those questions and giving you solid, actionable ways to improve your mindset. So, like I said, first time I've done this, and I'd love to get your guys' feedback on it. So, feedback, just shoot me an email, support@cashflowconsulting.com. Just let me know, what you thought of this mindset video. So thanks everyone for